What are we willing to accept there in terms of risk, in terms of potential death toll? It's got to be way over 35,000. So what is it? I don't know. I'm just saying that's the point. That's the ethical question that we're dealing with.
I'm just asking questions.
I'm just asking questions. Now, of course, this dum-dum at the time didn't sort of calculate the idea that, like, well, I'm giving you all these numbers that we can predict what they are. Now, he clearly couldn't predict what the number of deaths we were going to have with coronavirus, because we're already 10,000 over where he said we would be, or what would be the actual thing. And had he had any inclination that it was going to be over that number 3 weeks after he made that stupid video, he wouldn't have chosen that number. But what he also doesn't realize, I mean, and that's a number, let's say, remind people, after we had done in New York and in major cities around the country already had been shut in for a week or two at that point. And so the number would have been exponentially more. And because we just came underneath the capacity of our hospital system in New York State, which had to be basically nationalized on a state level, the government had to take over the entire hospital system to make sure that that number stayed just below what our capacity was as a complete New York State hospital system, private and public. That number would have been much higher if we couldn't treat all of the people over that amount who came in. So I wonder if that guy gets it now.
I actually think, yeah, I doubt it. But what I kind of think was funny, this is a narrow point, but when he's setting up that stupid analogy and he says, and he's talking about the car fatalities, and he's saying, but we are obviously not specifically setting up people to have a certain number of car accidents to appease the gods. It's funny because it's like, no, that actually is the one-to-one with what you're talking about, right? Like, in other words, if we keep going during Corona and we don't give people a social safety net so they can social distance, that's actually exactly what you're doing. And that's what the lieutenant governor of Texas himself said directly. You should sacrifice your life to keep going, to keep the economy going. So it's funny that, like, even in the setup, he couldn't create a one-to-one because, yeah, you would be sacrificing people's lives directly to keep the economy going. I also realized in my head, I do not distinguish between him and the other guy. So I was surprised when I first, I thought they were the same person, honestly.
Oh my God. He grew a beard very quickly. Let's do a couple more of these clips. We've lost the internet connection again. So this will be, this part of the show will be posted, I guess, after the fact. And then we're going to instant premiere the Diane Ravitch interview. Here is a comedian from New Jersey, a guy named Dick DiBitetto. I don't know if I ever ran into this guy. I don't think so. But he was making one of the best arguments for a mortgage moratorium, and I would apply this also to a rent moratorium that I think I've seen. And he did it fairly in an impassioned way. Here it is, clip number 11.
Just going to say it now. Dear government, we understand that the virus is not your fault. It happened. It is what it is. I'm not going to get into that idea that maybe you could have acted sooner. We can deal with that when this is all over. But here's the deal. We need a real fucking plan. It was the right move to make everyone stay home because that's the only way to deal with a virus like this. But here's where I have a problem. So, you told us to shut down non-essential businesses. You told us to go home and quarantine. You told us we have to keep social distance and stay inside. But you told us you would help. So where is the fucking help? These checks are what they are. I mean, let's be serious. I'm not going to turn away $1,200 because, number one, if you're going to give it to me, I'm taking it. And number two, it's our fucking money, not yours. It's ours. We paid that in taxes for everything we do every fucking day. So, okay, look at the typical family. Mortgage payment, healthcare payment, car payments, electric, water, garbage, phone, blah, 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 blah. So maybe the $1,200 covers the mortgage. But what about all the other costs that we have each month? This $1,200 thing isn't doing shit for the normal working family. You want to help? Here's one idea. Tell the fucking banks and mortgage companies to stop all mortgage payments at this time. Just stop them. And don't give me that 3-month furlough bullshit. How does that even make sense? So someone who lost their job because you said to stay at home doesn't pay mortgage for 3 months, but in the 4th month they have to not only pay that month that's due, but also the 3 months they owed in full because it was furloughed? How the fuck does that help, you greedy cocksuckers? Someone was just unemployed and not earning money for 3 months. They weren't earning money. Hello? Now they just start back to work and all that money magically appears so they can pay the 3 months in a lump sum. How are they fucking paying that? Are you fucking idiots? Look, it almost makes sense that they can start paying the current mortgage due for the month when they go back to work. But they can't pay the prior 3 months. They had no income. So here's the idea. Just add the 3 fucking months of furlough to the back end of the loan. So if they have, let's say, 19 years and 6 months left in their mortgage, just add the 3 months. So now they have 19 years and 9 months. How fucking hard is that? You'll get your money, you shitbags. It's just delayed. The working stiff wins if you do that. It really helps. It actually helps. And what is up with these banks and lending assholes? I mean, come on, you little...
Yeah, there you go. That's Vic.
Yeah.
That's Vic D. DeBetto, from New Jersey, right?
He should run for office.
I mean,
that's Brendan's uncle.
I've actually seen this guy in the past.
Have you seen him?
Just online and stuff like that. He's more conservative, but he's
But that's great. He gets it. I mean, it's so simple. I mean, and also remember the clip that I played, I think it was last Thursday, of Steve Mnuchin going, 1,200, okay.
Right.
Right-wing economic populism in action.
No concept. All right, one more clip. This is, I don't know, do you remember back during the 2016 Republican primary where John Kasich met with these Hasidic Jews and said, did you guys ever hear the story of Joseph? And started telling them the story of Joseph, and they're all just looking there like, that's all we do is read the Bible.
We literally live in Borough Park. We argue a little bit about that every hour.
A full year of our lives discussing that very story, actually, and every commentary that's ever been written about it over the course of maybe 2,000 to 3,000 years. And Kasich was like, well, then let me give you my perspective.
He was also on The View. I just got to say real quick, he was also on The View with 2 Chainz. And he starts basically telling him what it must have been like to work with Kanye as a producer. So Kasich, there's a pattern here.
Charlie Kirk is looking to challenge John Kasich on the I know better than you title.
This is exciting. Just as arrogant and twice as stupid.
Charlie Kirk, and this is the way that he put out his Turning Points video. Charlie Kirk destroys radical leftist rabbi.
Whereby everyone gets an education regardless of their ability to pay. That's a socialist concept, and it's what makes our country great. Every person in the United States should be educated regardless of their ability to pay.
Well, so that's not happening under this current model.
It's not happening right now.
Correct. Do you think that a Jewish day school does a better job of educating an individual than a public school?
I don't believe in orthodoxy. They brainwash their kids, so I don't like Jewish day schools. But
okay. So do you believe a parochial school or a private school will do a better job at educating an individual than a traditional public school?
No, because they're brainwashing their kids. But here's my question.
Brainwashing their kids. You're a rabbi.
My question is,
They're brainwashing them the Torah?
Have you ever heard of Reform or Reconstructionist Judaism? We don't take the Torah literally, but this is my question.
Wait.
Do you?
No. You absolutely take the Torah literally. It's literally the Torah.
I absolutely.
Moses was given them for a reason.
I absolutely do not, and you don't know anything about Judaism.
I don't know anything about Judaism.
No, you don't.
Well, I'm an evangelical Christian. I bet you know slightly more in your particular blend of...
I know a lot more because it's my religion. You don't have the right to tell me what...
No, I do have a right because it's America, because I say whatever the damn I want. Secondly, don't act for a second that I have a different book than you.
You know what?
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy is in my Bible just as in yours. So don't act like I read a different book.
No,
And finally, I would say it is underneath the moral stature of a rabbi to tell someone like me that I don't have a right to criticize you. But continue.
I will tell you that Jewish people have had Christians tell Jews what their religion means for a long time. We do not need Christians to tell Jews what Judaism is all about.
I will say this. You will find no better or bigger defender of the state of Israel, the Jewish people, than me. No one. Period. Bar none.
And my friend, the Pope of the Jews,
They thought this was
Ben Shapiro, has told me that you're not a Jew, sir. I mean, the rabbi got a little bit sidetracked there by Charlie Kirk. And I guess the argument was about the idea for public education. Charlie Kirk, of course, wants it all to be government funds that fund a religious education. He would be very happy to have little Christian madrasas all across the country. And if we've got to throw a couple to the Jews, as long as Ben Shapiro gets him to be in charge of them, then that's okay. But the idea that he doesn't understand what it means to say, I don't take the Torah literally. I don't think what the rabbi was saying is that the Torah doesn't literally exist. I think he's saying that the Torah is a series of stories and aphorisms that one is supposed to derive broad moral principles from, but not actually happening. In other words, the sea didn't actually part, that you shouldn't throw stones at women when they have their monthly. Like things like that, I think is what the rabbi probably meant.
No, he meant the Torah literally doesn't exist. It's a new Reconstructionist position. I just want to say, I don't want to I mean, look, Charlie Kirk is embarrassing, even down to the point where at one point I felt like he was trying to do some type of Seinfeld inflection, like the Torah literally exists. And, it's just pathetic. But, and I'm not, this isn't a criticism, but like, just don't give these guys the satisfaction of getting upset. They're idiots. Like, I listened the other day, there was something with taking us back to 2014 with Gavin McInnes, where he was doing some AMA and on Twitch or something. And Ben Burgess basically, he went in and didn't, call him out. He didn't call him an asshole or all these things. He just said like, yeah, you said you're a libertarian. You think that's going to work during the shutdown? And Gavin just starts going all over the place. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And basically, very quickly, McGinnis just freaked out and got upset at Burgess because he didn't have an answer for how you reconcile no government with a quarantine. It's a basic Sam Seder libertarian debate thing.
This was in 2014?
No, I'm saying that talking about Gavin McInnes feels like it's 2014. This was a couple of days ago.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, I'm just saying like the rabbi got pissed, but you don't need to get angry at Charlie Kirk. He's a fool.
It's true, but there's no greater defender of Israel.
No greater defender. These guys are at some point, they're going to have to figure it out though, because I've heard so many people say that there's no greater defender of Israel. At some point, they're going to need to sort that out amongst themselves.
Oh, that's easy. We put them into a Roman Colosseum.
Yeah,
and we throw a sword in the middle of the Colosseum, and then we just say "begin," and they fight it out, and that's the way that we determine there's no greater.
Bunch of Jews doing the Caesar, just like no, you're actually not the greatest defender of Israel.
All right, so folks, here's what we're going to do. We're going to premiere the Diane Ravitch video and interview right after this. We will release it as I guess part of this podcast as well as an audio podcast, and we'll just do a freebie Friday. But just to remind, but it's actually Wednesday, so we'll do a freebie Wednesday. Reminder, this program relies on your support. You can become a member by going to jointhemajorityreport.com. When you do, you help us with things like trying to figure out a better internet or getting Brendan a new computer. Also, you support those members who can't afford a membership. And if you're one of those people, give us an email at majorityreporters@gmail.com. We will hook you up. Don't forget, also AM Quickie. Somebody said it was like Paul Harvey the other day. But of course, Paul Harvey was a right winger. But nevertheless, it's not like that. And also, justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee, tea, or chocolate. Use the coupon code